I'm starting the meeting at 6:04 p.m. We have approval of the October 19th, 2022 regular meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Period for public expression? No, none, no.
No, Nada is traveling back from England. So I did send her the link, but she's not in person and she's not virtual.
Okay. Report from the Friends. I attended the meeting on November 10th via Zoom. They did have a discussion about the book and author cocktail party at Tutorial Giorno. The ticket sales are not going well. They only have 45 people signed up, and the place will hold 70, I think.
I saw signs for it up in one of the stores.
Oh,
the
you
other day.
did? Okay. Yeah, I told them they need better PR, you know.
I feel like I saw it in like the window of like the old 7-Eleven or something like that.
Could be, yeah, because they were putting posters around also for the bus trip to Manhattan, which is on December 7th. Then the new business, they did talk a little bit about the Sagaponic Farm Distillery. That's still kind of up in the air and it's being explored. Not too sure about the art walk in Sag Harbor, which was another suggestion. So let's see. Yeah, those are the main points of that meeting.
Is the bus
Michael?
tour sold out or how are the ticket sales
bus?
going? Yeah.
No, not
No?
by any means.
Really?
They chartered a 54-seat bus.
Mhm.
And I think they've only got about 30 so far. But the thing is, see, I used to be in charge of that
Right.
before the pandemic. And they used to have this little poster with the yellow bus. And people looked for that because it had been, every year they'd see in the flyer in the stores,
Mhm.
and that let them know that we were taking reservations for the bus trip. And we always had a waiting list.
Yeah.
But, there are a couple of things operating here. One, some people are still skittish about riding the jitney. There you are for 2.5 hours, say, scrunched up in the bus, maybe not seated next to someone you trust to not be positive, COVID positive. And we had to raise the price. It's not nearly as expensive as the, round trip jitney trip, but it's $50 where we used to charge 30. But the jitney went up, even
Yeah.
for nonprofits. So if you're interested and, maybe
Mhm.
Martin will come.
Right.
Oh, but he lives in the city,
lives in the city,
so,
right.
but maybe another friend or
Mhm.
something, or other friends, because they could use the money. It is a fundraiser.
Mhm.
All of these are fundraisers. And, we do give it back to the library.
And it's really important that the Friends sell all the tickets for the book and author
Yeah.
at Tutu Il Giorno.
Yeah,
Well, there was an event on Saturday, I think, at Tuto. It had something to do with Robbie Stein. I was supposed to go and I didn't, and everybody's raving about it. They said it was a wonderful event. Food was fantastic.
Cocktail.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
I think it was like from 4 to 6.
Yeah.
They served great food. I mean,
Uh-huh.
people are raving about it. So you should.
Okay, well, that bodes well.
It bodes well, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
Okay,
Maybe they
So-
should consider doing the bus trip on a Saturday or even a Sunday.
Saturdays are hard for
Oh.
groups like us.
Yeah.
what day is it?
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Well, Wednesday is
Seems like a
actually,
good day.
you know, we choose
Yeah.
Wednesday because of the theater.
Yeah.
I would
Right.
say roughly half the bus
Mhm.
Going to a
is
show?
going in to see a show.
Oh, that's interesting.
Some years even more.
Mhm.
And they, you know, people look forward to it. Some families go, you know, there was a group of women that we used to pick up in West Hampton Beach. There were 4 or 5 of them and they get on and by the time we were ready to leave the city, they were happy, they were half high. They had
I knew that
bags
was coming.
galore, you know, they had shopped. And, you know, there was the kind of thing where every year, there they were. So I think we should move on, but
I just have a quick
If you're-
question for you
sure.
at the bus. Where do people park their cars? Because it's 3 hours in that lot back. there.
well, they used to give us leeway to park behind Apple Bank
In that lot
in
back
that
there.
parking lot.
Has that been looked into yet?
I would hope so, but I am not
Oh,
in
okay,
charge
'cause that's-
anymore.
But the gas ball lot is 3
Oh,
days
right.
and Marine, and the parking lot near,
Yeah, right.
near Marine Park is also 3 days. So there are places you
Yeah.
only park.
Right,
Yeah.
I forgot about
hours.
I
this
will
wall.
remind them though to check, to make sure that the bus can pull in there and wait for at least a half hour. Because one year somebody forced the bus to park on Main Street. And everybody was upset because, you know, they had to get out and line up down on Main Street, and I mean, it's a mess. But I will remind them about it. Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much for your interest. Treasurer's report.
Okay, hopefully everybody got, I sent the reports out on Monday and yesterday the highlights. And Miss Kelly did such a great job right off her trip getting me all this. And then I came down with a bad reaction from my COVID.
Oh,
no.
shot. So I could not do anything over the weekend, but I did get them out and hopefully everybody got them and read through them. Kind of a normal month. We're kind of winding down to the end of the year. So our cash balance is going down to the lowest point in January due to the school revenues being all paid up. We do have, we're over budget on Wagner team donations, so that is keeping our revenues over budget. I signed a warrant last Thursday. There was one for Delta Well and Plumbing for $40,444, which Kelly will undoubtedly talk about, and that will be in November's revenue expense report. The electric bill was a double payment. We may not have a payment this month because that was paid on October 31st. So that's why that's high. And going through the budget versus actual, we're at 83.3% of the budget fiscal year. Revenues, as I just mentioned, are a little bit over, mainly because of Wagner donations and also interest from our investments that we did not budget. Expenses doing very well, 78.2% of annual budget, 5% under 83.3. And a few minor things here was the audit for the budget, which made accounting over. And the newsletter and election expense made us over an office. Those two are just one time occurring as far as the election, and newsletter is only a few times a year, and we don't have any of those expenses.
Oh, Michael.
And then repair and maintenance, of course, will continue to go off just because of what we're going through. So look for that to go up next month. That's just the way it is. Okay, any questions?
So what's keeping us under you said we're under budget overall, but what areas are keeping us lower than we expected?
Well, a lot is personnel because we lost people throughout the year. That's probably the main thing, but almost every category is under.
Yeah, personnel is a lot of it. So if you remember, we have a full-time emerging technologies librarian in the budget, and Andrew is here, 6 hours a week. So we're not paying that full salary, but we're also not paying health benefits, retirement, long-term disability, all of those things. So that,
And the IT tech is being charged to another category.
yeah.
And actually, looking at the revenue versus expenses, it actually looks like employee support more than personnel. Personnel is actually pretty close. Overall personnel expenses are 89%. So, I was just curious.
Quick question, what were the unclassified contributions?
That was just a $750 donation.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, sometimes people just give us money.
That's lovely.
Okay. Okay, any more questions? All right, did I have approval of financial reports dated October 1 to October 31, 2022?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next, approval of warrant number, my glasses down here, 12614-12657 and dated 10/13/2022 to 11/9/2022 in the amount of $92,630.99.
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Director's report.
Michael and
Michael and
Michael.
Michael.
Michael and
Michael.
Michael.
Oh, yeah,
Michael's
that's a,
word.
good- oh, why don't we just keep the link? Might be easier.
Okay. So, part of it was, I was at the NILA conference for almost a week. So, but time really sort of flew between board meetings. We had a lot going on here. Andrea Hill, as you know, has been offered her dream job with the NAACP. Her last day is November 23rd. I included her resignation letter, which you all have read. But the exciting conversation I had with Andrea the other day is she's feeling a little bit pressed to wrap everything up. She knows that it's going to take us a little while to hire a teen librarian. So she's going to be coming in one day a weekend, either the Saturday or Sunday, whichever day sort of works best for the library, to assist in, making sure we have all the materials and stuff we need for the teen programs, that, books still get ordered through the end of the year, all of those things. So she's going to be with us one day a week, at least through the end of January, and then we'll sort of see if we still need her or if she still wants to be here. And then once that's sort of over, she has said that she would be happy to remain on our sub list. So when we need substitute coverage, we'll be able to call her up and see if she's available. So that's good.
Does she live locally?
She lives in Riverhead, so she's not that far.
And where's the NAACP job?
The NAACP job is 3 days in the city, 2 days work from home.
Mm.
Yeah, so, but it is,
Not too bad.
it is her dream job.
No, I
She's
agree.
archiving stuff, which actually, it seems like all the librarians we've hired lately have a background in archives. And so, you know, she's very.
No, I get why it would be a dream job.
Right,
Just-
yeah.
That could,
I'm like,
How big is your sub list?
we have 2 people on our sublist.
You're better
Um,
than most school
So,
districts.
right, so it'll be nice to have a couple more people on the sublist. You know, Mira, we can always call in as well, so it's like 3 people on our sublist. So I also, I already posted for the new teen librarian, I did that yesterday, yes, it was yesterday, because East Hampton posted for a teen librarian today, and I was like, oh, you dirty dogs. But we're posted. I got 1 resume so far. I'm kind of hoping we'll have more than 1 resume come through. Rachel, our adult programming librarian, has brought sweet screaming life into this world. Bronwyn Star, she's adorable. I sent you a picture. And she's mom and baby are doing well, as is dad. We don't want to leave him out of the mix. And then I also hired Eileen Carrasco, and she's going to be doing some of our social media and our flyers and assisting Wanda and I and Chance with doing Rachel's job, because yes, Rachel does the job of 4 people. And so Wanda, Catherine and I, and Ginta all attended the NILA conference. It was great. Thank you all for being so supportive in sending so many staff members to NILA. It's a really excellent experience to go to conferences. It's a great way to get your library mojo back if you're sort of feeling a little stagnant. And it's always great to learn what our colleagues in the state are doing. And I do want to mention that the only reason the reports got turned over that quickly, Bill, is because Wanda came in and got through reconciling the books and
Thanks, Wanda.
reminded me of all the bank statements that I didn't.
I was
print out for her.
absolutely shocked when I got that email on Monday.
So let's see,
In a good way.
we've just been like busy and short staffed because it's the end of the year. So all the staff are trying to get their vacation time in, because, you know, our policy is if you don't use it, you lose it. We had a couple of illnesses, people sick. So it's really been all hands on deck, and everybody's really been collaborative and supportive, which is great. I did so much. Rachel did the lion's share of the newsletter, but I would say probably there was a large chunk of it left to me, and I forgot how horrible it is to edit a newsletter. And I did it for years, and you know, if you ask me when I'm not doing it, I love doing it, but it's just, we spent a lot of time working on the newsletter. That is to the printer. It also is going to promote the Friends programs. We could talk about what PWGC has come here and done, and what Airpath, Enron, and all of them have done under old business. I did want to go over the statistics, because there is like a big weird fat anomaly in our statistics. If you look at total items checked out from the library, it's like double of what we normally do. And I rechecked my numbers. It is not a typo. We circulated a ton of books this month, which I don't know. I don't know if like a classroom teacher took out a ton of books, or if
5,000.
staff members are checking them out and hiding them in the trunks of their cars. But according to the statistics that we draw from the Suffolk Cooperative Library System, that number is absolutely correct.
Wait, does everything that you check in and check out get sent to the Suffolk?
No. So the software that we use for circulating materials is a program called Sierra. And the partnership of automated libraries in Suffolk County, which is called PALS, which is technically not part of SCLS, but is housed in SCLS. PALS basically are all of the libraries in Suffolk County on the same circulating system as us. There's only 2 or 3 libraries in Suffolk County who are not members of PALS. So we all use the same Sierra circulation system. And that system, you know, you can go in and draw statistical reports. You can do them based on like the item type, the specific to the library, you know, like we can look at it and, you know, if we're weeding the collection, we can run a report and see what hasn't been checked out in the last 5 years and then look at it and say, all right, well, this is, you know, The Tempest by Shakespeare, we kind of have to keep that even though it hasn't been checked out in 5 years. But this is, you know, our second copy of James Patterson's The Beach House. Maybe we let that one go.
I
So
used to do that at school.
there's, we can get real granular with the statistics
Yeah.
if we wanted to.
Kelly, e-references, databases,
Mhm.
down.
So databases are weird, and I will explain to you why. So the web access management reports, or is what we lovingly like to call the WAM stats, are basically all of the databases which are shared by the Suffolk Cooperative Libraries. That's part of our system dues. And each one of those companies collects those statistics in a different way. So sometimes it's like, some of the databases are like count use like per click, right? And some of them are just like, they came to our page. So there's sort of like weird, dumb numbers, which, you know, because there's no consistency across the databases, how they comb their statistics. And then if somebody's doing a huge research project, like if, just as an example, if Catherine was working with the Historical Society, Historical Museum on like a big project and Catherine was really in that database, we would have a ton more clicks than if she wasn't. So it's really sort of driven by librarian and in-house use, as well as, you know, is somebody doing a research project? So it's, and it's also related to how like EBSCO decides to calculate use, how I can only think of EBSCO as a database company right now, but there are other database companies that count use in different ways. So sometimes we have like this really silly small number of database use, which this month is 542. And then sometimes we have a database use of like 3,226. It's just how the WAN stats fall.
But it's just so.
It's a dumb
different.
number.
It's different than.
Yeah.
All the previous.
Yeah.
Years.
Yeah.
I can understand 1,000, but this is that.
Yeah. And I would dare say, I know that librarians are the ones who use those databases. And when you send 4 librarians to NILA for a week, those are clicks we're just not getting.
That would have been, that's better. answer.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
what
like-
good is
The other
all
thing,
of
you're
this?
talking about the wham bam.
The WAM stats,
I was just not getting that.
Yeah.
That was too wonky. for me.
that was too wonky.
You had a
The
lot,
WAM was wonky.
Yeah, don't go there. Cole.
No,
you had a lot of adults do programming this one
we
too.
did. We were busy. We had no staff, but we were very busy.
There was a lot of people here when the guy with the author was here the other day.
Oh, Tom Clavin?
Yeah.
Yeah, Tom Clavin always draws a pretty good crowd.
Mhm.
I think we had about 16 people for Tom Clavin.
16?
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's also.
he is, and he's a really good author to listen to. Like he's a
Yeah.
really
He's got a
good
good
He
speaker.
gets animated.
Yes, and
Yeah,
you can tell he's excited about whatever he just
Yeah,
wrote a book about.
yeah. He's very
Yeah,
prolific
he's
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, I'll tell you a quick story about Tom Clavin because it cracked me right up. He was doing a talk in another state, and the person who introduced him said that he was a 2-time Pulitzer Prize winner. And he's not. But he did not correct them. So when I introduced him, he said, keep it short. And I said, I'm here to introduce Pulitzer Prize winner Tom Clavin. And he was like, I'm only going to tell you guys, I didn't actually win. a Pulitzer
So
Prize."
he can also take a joke.
He can take a joke, which is nice.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'm gonna steal Michael's usual question about the computer users. They are skyrocketing now.
Yes.
Coming back from the dead. What is
Yes.
the deal?
So I think it's sort of twofold. I think part of it is we're very much coming out of COVID and we've lifted many of our restrictions and people are just more comfortable coming in to use the library. I would also say that a lot of our computer usage is people who are here sort of like, I don't want to say all day, but here in the morning, then leave, go get a cup of coffee, walk around town, come back, use the computer a little longer, whether they're job seekers or, you know, maybe more transients. We're seeing more use of the computers by people.
And we still have 4 terminals?
5?
One Spanish.
One is in Spanish.
Oh, okay.
So when people come in, they don't have to struggle to figure out how to turn the computer into Spanish language, so it's already in Spanish.
Does that include laptop use too?
Nobody really uses the laptops, but the laptops we generally check out to people, so that would be counted under a checkout.
Okay.
So they have the option to like check out a laptop, but they choosing to be here.
I think they're choosing to be here because, you know, we're warm, we're clean, we're dry.
Yeah.
We have
Quiet
lovely
place to
librarians who
work.
can help you.
You know, I guess last year when I started coming to meetings, there was talk about reducing the number
Yeah.
of computers, right? Because of lack of usage, but whether they do anything radical, because I think there'll always be people.
I'd say we give it a couple of months, and, you know, that could be an anomaly too.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna see a lot more steady use of those computers during the winter months. It's
I
just my-
agree.
My
You do
feeling.
see more in the winter, but
Because it's more.
when I
place to
first
come.
joined the board, the numbers were closer to 800.
They were
So
always busy with
seeing 212
Yeah.
does not make me think, I mean, and that was when the building was still under construction. When you were talking about having 10 computers in the main entrance.
It's the desktop.
Yeah,
And then, you know, the other thing
it was
too,
gonna be the computer cafe at one point.
and the other thing to remember, to Anne's point, is we're comparing it to 2021 and 2020, which were both COVID years, right? So we just didn't have as many people in the building as compared to September, though, it was a lot of people.
What's going on with our social media?
Yeah,
That's, who's handling that this month?
so who's handling it right now? Rachel, bless her heart, later grammed a lot of stuff, so she pre-programmed stuff to spit out on its normal schedule. But we're working on between Wanda and myself and Eileen, sort of really doing some different stuff with social media.
Nice.
Yeah.
To see for a change.
Yeah,
And then data transfer, is that down a lot because you sent 4 people to Nyla for a week?
probably. That would be my guess. That's gonna be my answer. Because I thought the same thing. I'm like, that's not correct. But then, you know, I double checked with Chance who ran the reports and he's like, it's absolutely correct. So.
And how dare you do the question now?
That's right. Or, you know, somebody was, you know, illegally pirating music and has since stopped.
Or somebody.
Or went to
who did-
Nyla.
Or somebody who does a ton of data transfer and something on their computers.
Yeah. That's true.
Shift it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna include the hotel and bar tab.
The hotel and bar tab.
Refrigerator.
The library does not pay for our cocktails. Cocktails are out of pocket.
The library can't afford to pay for it.
That's right.
Although it was Saratoga, so like, maybe we could afford it. It's a little cheaper. It's a little cheaper in Saratoga. Not much, but.
Anything else?
That is it. I've got-
Okay, committee reports, personnel.
Personnel did not meet, but we do have a meeting coming up in December.
December
Monday,
5th.
5th.
Yes.
Are we piggybacking those in person or via Zoom?
I thought we decided we were gonna go with the Zoom.
Yeah.
Because Gloria said that that was much,
Okay.
much easier. I think that would be.
And we're going to start at 5, right?
Yeah.
5 and then
Starting
Right.
at 5
5
with
with finance.
finance.
That's the 5th.
Mhm.
And Dan, I think we'll do personnel first, right?
Yeah, that's fine.
Well, usually we do finance first so he can leave.
So he can leave.
Yeah,
Okay, then we
Because
together.
so
That's okay. with
That's
you.
fine, yeah.
Okay.
So 5 o'clock.
Via Zoom. I'll send the link closer to the day.
Finance,
We did not meet, but we will on the 5th.
buildings and grounds.
Did not meet.
Policy,
We did not meet.
outreach,
Did not meet.
Miss asking you at bar.
Give me a second here. They always meet once a month, so I did attend the meeting. And here's the news. So sports, fall sports are finished in the park. So all the water's been drained, the irrigation and the bathrooms are closed now. We discussed necessary tree trimming and dead tree removal. The park needs a new truck and a new tractor. And then we discussed the resurfacing of the 2 hard tennis courts. And that is it. Those are the highlights of the park board meeting. Any questions? Okay.
Old business, HBIC update.
Here we go.
Okay,
Here we
so
go.
there's
Put your
really.
helmets on, everybody.
Strap in. So really, there's not a ton to report other than PW Grocer sent their tech out to take more water samples. We've graduated from, I think I called them sea monkeys at the last meeting, to jellyfish. To little orange irony looking jellyfish. And I was like, ew, that's gross. I'm glad you pulled that out of there, not me. And so they're doing some water testing. I also sent the hard copy of our construction documents to them to scan the pages they need, and then they'll send those back to us. In the meantime, AirPath came back to finish what it is that they needed to complete, which was dependent upon the installation of a sensor in HP1 and some things that ACS, which is our control company, had to do. And so they sent me this at 4:45 yesterday. It's many, many pages. I did not read it, so I cannot really report too much on it. But I'll report on it at the December meeting, and I will send you all a digital copy of this. I just didn't want to.
And what is that?
But this is AirPath's final report on the balancing. Basically,
Okay.
their opinion is like, it's not so bad. I did read the summary. It's not so bad. There is a sensor that needs to be fixed in this room. That's why it's chilly in here. But the airflow is good in here. It's just the temperature is not. There's basically a bad sensor on every floor that ACS has to replace within the control equipment. And their sort of biggest concern at this point is they're like, your system should work, but they're concerned that because we only have one well at this point, that should the system need some extra juice in times of cold, super less when it's super cold, more when it's super hot, we won't be able to get enough water to get the system down to the temperature that we're calling for. That being said, that's sort of one of those things that PW Grocer is sort of looking at and trying to figure out, because it's distinctly possible that we're not getting enough water through our machines because the water is full of goo,
Yeah,
right?
it's a Ghostbusters contract. In
It is.
Page 2, they say, due to slime, quote unquote slime, observed on your well pumps.
Yes.
It's just like Ghostbusters.
It is. So we have,
It's reads like stereos.
So, I
is.
mean, you could converse in heterotrophic plate count, longevity, saturation
Yes.
index. And
so we're long story short, we're still figuring it out, but and I don't want to Pollyanna it, but I think that we're getting much closer to solving the problem. The building, other than this room, has been a real consistent temperature. I have not, since we've had the building balance, I have not walked into the building and been like, it's way too cold in here. And I have not walked in the building and been like, it's way too hot in here. I really do. I feel like the overall temperature throughout the building has been pretty good.
Kelly, I would have to say from my personal observation that the temperature is fine. There's just too much air blowing. in this
Yeah.
room. So
I
just
can-
want that on the
agree.
record.
Okay.
Really, Bob?
Yeah. So,
Too much air.
yeah,
No, I'm just saying, I don't want, I mean,
Yeah.
if it's being characterized as too cold, that could just set us
Yeah.
off in a whole new direction that I think is wrong.
that is
I
true.
thought it was worth mentioning. And Michael agrees.
So I guess I
Yeah.
should say that
It's too much air. A lot of it's hot.
it's mostly
Well, that
coming
has
from me.
nothing to do with the fountain.
Meanwhile, I've got 5 layers on, so I'm perfectly calm.
So part of,
Look at me.
yeah, so part of the problem is the sensor in this room it can't hit. It's not calling for heat, it's not calling for cooling, it's just calling,
Yeah.
right?
it's-
So it's never gonna shut off, it's just gonna
Right, keep calling.
call it.
Can you shut it off at night? the
I mean, I
blower?
could shut it off, I can turn the zone off.
Yeah,
But then we have no airflow in here, which means it could potentially get very cold.
Stale.
And then we also have, we want airflow. because
Yeah.
We are going into flu and
Yes.
COVID season, so
Yes.
I like airflow.
Okay.
Do you want to switch seats?
Do I have a good hat?
There's no vent near you, is there?
There's
There is.
something blowing and it's not right here.
It's right here, it's just blowing.
Yeah, it's a lot.
I mean,
The cool
I
kids are on
gotta
this
say,
side.
This arm is a lot. cooler than this arm.
It's
There you go. Well,
The-
over
the
here, we're
literal-
stripping you
literal
down.
cool kids.
literal and figurative. So that's really it. I'm just waiting for data. We are also considering decorating that hose for the holidays. Susie suggested perhaps we just find some sort of red tape, so it looks like a
Stripe it.
candy cane. We're also thinking about, twinkle lights, because
That'll
I would
make
do
it very
that.
special.
why not?
I'm not sure I agree with lights and water being together.
Oh,
So the water's not on, we're not gonna put it in the tube.
You get the
Um,
solar
What
ones.
is it gonna be?
Yeah,
How much
battery
longer is it
operated.
gonna be like that?
until we fix it. Like that. Except that goes into your heart because it's not going anywhere anytime
Yeah,
soon,
people say,
unfortunately.
what's with that hose there?
Yeah.
at the left? What's with the?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not, yeah, I'm sorry.
but there's no hose
Not
on
your
Union
fault.
anymore, right?
That you are not spewing water into
Okay.
Union Street anymore. So,
Effort.
new
New
business.
business.
So you're going to sign the proposal? Do you need
We did
approval?
that, no, we did that last month.
That's last month's thing.
You left that in your binder and I didn't know if you wanted it.
New business.
New business. So we have the SCLS annual budget, and I know you all read it with great interest. The one thing that, basically member library support is about a 1% increase. That being said, congratulations, our library is no longer considered one of the smallest libriaries in Suffolk County. We have graduated. And in graduating in our size, we now get to pay more money to system and dues, is really the long and short of it. So the formula which makes up system dues is there's sort of like a base pay to play price, right? And so that's I'm gonna call them your tiny libraries or your baby libraries. We used to be a baby library. And they all pay the lowest rates. There's 8 of them. You're looking at, Amagansett, Greenport, Mattatuck,
that's the-
Southold. It's all the really little,
The 11,000 ones.
so, yeah, all the ones who are only paying about 11,000, is that what it is?
Yeah,
11,168. That's your population is small, your budget is under a certain amount. you pay the lowest rate.
But it's not by how much you use the system.
It's not by how much you use the system.
Okay. So-
Ebooks are. So, but that's why it's based upon population and budget size, because in theory, if you have a large population and a big budget, you're using system more than a library with a small population and a small budget. So thanks to the 2020 census, we have a lot more people in our population than we did in 2010. And then also our budget is very much higher than it had been. So what's,
But
Yeah.
overall, it only went up 1% over the whole county.
it only went up 1% over the whole county. So when you look at page 37, you'll see we have the distinction of going up the most. But,
51%.
yeah, but our colleagues in East Hampton went up, 17.74%. Rogers went up 13.5%. West Hampton went up 15.9%. So
Is that a big library?
West Hampton?
Yeah.
It's a medium-sized library. If you ask Danielle, she'll tell you it's a big library. Danielle's the director there. They have bigger population sizes than us. We're sort of, if you want to look at these numbers, our size is sort of in line with like a Bayport Blue Point, or sorry, not a Bayport Blue Point, like a Babylon or a who else is sort of in
That's
those
gotta be a
teams?
huge population.
But Babylon has a ton of libraries. So there's North Babylon, there's West Babylon, there's just Babylon, so it's based upon the school districts. And Babylon, the smaller library might have a smaller budget, so. Anyway, we went up.
Yay.
It's yay. It means that we're paying more. So our increase, instead of being, $111 is $5,000. That being said, I over budgeted for ebooks through the Suffolk Cooperative Library System because we have always consistently had huge spikes in our ebook use. We do not have a huge spike in our ebook use this year. So basically, like in terms of SCLS services, we're going to take sort of that extra that I put in the ebook money and apply it to our dues. And then, so we have the money in the budget. It's not,
And you
it's,
have the money.
and we have the money. Yeah, it's not a huge thing.
Kelly, where are they getting their numbers from?
For
Population.
population, it's based on the census. So the numbers for the last 10 years have been based on the 2010 census. This year, they're based on the 2020 census. And just so you know, out of the 8 minimum due libraries, our population is double that of 6 out of 8 of them. And, no, I'm sorry, not our population, our budget is double that out of 6 out of 8 of them, and 65% higher than the other 2. So we have a big budget.
That's good.
But
Yeah.
we're paying the same.
Do they consider the mortgage in that, or is that taken out?
We do. And the
Really?
reason we do is because before I got here, you guys put that together into, so like you include that in your tax ask, right? So my brain is broken, but
It artificially inflates.
it
what we're
does
actually
artificially
doing.
inflate it, but you guys passed a resolution when you did the budget for this budget year. When I came in, it's my understanding, as Kathy had explained to me, so that it's always going to be part of your operating budget. So right now it's paying to pay down the mortgage, but once that mortgage is satisfied, but we're still going to be asking for that $905,000 as part of our budget.
Maybe.
No, you already did.
We have to stop asking, we have to go do another referendum to stop it.
Right.
So which we could say, let's have a referendum to lower everyone's taxes and no longer have. But the way the referendum was prepared was that we would get the money.
Regardless.
Regardless.
Yeah.
It was a tricky line somebody put in there.
Yes,
Oh,
so
yeah.
it's not a,
It doesn't
it's not,
sunset.
it's not a true debt
Does it just
service, where at the
disappear?
end of paying for it, we no longer ask for it. Thank you.
So quick question, do we get this every year, that, you know?
Yes,
You're
you get,
going-
you get a
okay.
copy of this every year, and every year Kathy probably said, you're going up $111, you're going up $200, you're going up $90. During COVID, there was no increase, and this year, we're gonna go up.
Well, okay,
You know.
so my question is, it's like every 10 years you can expect like a surprise,
Possibly, yeah,
because that's when they do a census, and it seems like
yeah,
the population is a big driver
yes,
in this.
yes.
This could have been a COVID spike also.
It could have, right? So in 2020, so
Yeah,
many people
sure.
came out, and if you look, there's actually some huge libraries where they dropped. You know, like not, you know, only
Well,
like a
all of
couple
them,
of,
except for the old East Hampton, West Hampton, Hampton Bays, Rogers and us. Those are the ones that went up.
and that's
by
where,
double digits.
That's
that's where everybody
else-
came to
That's right.
come reside.
So everybody, you know, everyone else was down or we're sucking from other parts of
Yeah.
the county, or more likely from New York City.
Okay, let's move
Wait, wait,
on. We have a lot.
I know, there's a ballot here, do we have to sign this?
Yeah, I have.
You have to do it?
Gloria
Okay,
has to sign
done, done,
So, yes,
sorry.
I will sign it before I leave.
perfect.
We have to vote on it.
You do?
Oh, yeah.
Well,
I make a motion to accept the SCLS proposed 2023 budget.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
This was very helpful, this sheet, this page 37. I don't know if you ever saw that.
You don't know if you ever saw that?
that.
Oh,
Yeah,
Comparison like that. You think so?
yeah, we have, yeah.
But, you know,
Um,
I like the page numbers.
I like the page number.
Okay,
Nobody
approval of employee raises for fiscal year 2023.
Right, so as part, because I know you all committed the library's fiscal year 2023 budget to your memories. Part of that included a 3% raise to all staff members. So that passed by, like, the budget passed. And so I am recommending that the board, you know, sort of officially approve that we give the staff a 3% raise.
That's not keeping up with inflation. It's not keeping up with COLA. It's not
Nothing's
keeping up
keeping
with anything.
Yeah,
you know, also, teacher contracts in Sag Harbor and teaching assistants contracts in Sag Harbor do not receive cost of living. They receive a percentage increase annually between like 1.5% to 2%.
It's built in.
yeah.
It's in a, yeah, it's in a contract.
It's the same thing.
Well, I know last year, around this time of year, we talked about, because inflation was beginning, it was not where it is now, but it was, that we would do a bigger increase than what would have been in the budget to kind of keep up. And I think we did 5% last year.
Yeah, Wanda,
Yeah.
what was the percent you did last year?
Might have been six.
Yeah.
I knew that they were, that they had gotten a big COLA jump.
Yeah,
And this is 3% for just a 1-year term?
This is 3% for 1 year, so it's just everybody's going up
but
3%.
but once your salary goes up 3%, it remains up there. So
Yeah.
if you do
Yeah.
another 3% on top of that, you're doing it on a higher level.
Hmm.
But it is expensive to live there, and it's more expensive.
I mean, COLA is almost 9, COLA for
Yeah.
2023.
I know, Kohler did a really big jump, a smaller jump last year
Mhm.
than we did,
0.7.
but it is a big one.
And that would be I mean, I don't think I have the budget on this computer.
So do we need to vote on the 3% or do we need to vote on the more?
Well, that's what I'm bringing up.
If it's
is-
more, it's
Do you have a
it's-
proposal?
It's a lot, like, Like, you're talking about a lot of money.
I know it's a lot of
Okay,
money.
and
I do the same thing in our office.
I know,
I'm
right?
trying to figure this stuff out.
So
Okay.
How
what
much
it?
is-
So
how
what's
much is the
difference between
3%?
3 and the, let's say 6%.
let me see if I
Twice as
have-
double.
So we can just say, what's the 3%, just
Yeah,
double that. and
Well,
then
no,
you
not
have-
necessarily. I mean, Anne threw out 6%, but can we just find out what 3% is
Yeah, let me
to start?
see
Right,
if I
Yeah, you
have
get a
the
baseline and then go from
Yeah.
there.
the budget on this computer.
Actually, we might be able to deal with this.
Oh, I see, back into the number.
I'm backing into the. Look at piece of paper with numbers on it. I'm in it.
But I do want to just remind you all that it's not just salary, it's also
Benefits.
benefits.
Right. we
The
started out with-
3%, it's everything.
We've never been bashful.
Including health insurance.
So, and we also sort of the other part of it was, part of the reason we went up 3% on salary was because we're also went from putting in, what was it, 4% into retirement to 10% into retirement.
Can I make a recommendation then?
Yeah,
Is this something that absolutely has to be decided? at
no,
this
we can absolutely
No.
table
I
it
think
and
we
we
should
can
just
discuss
skip
it.
the
and
numbers
then
so we can
I'll-
look at
I think that we can do this in the committee,
Right,
if you don't mind.
absolutely.
Yeah,
No, no, I
Because I
don't
think that's
mind
what we
at
have done it before, we
Yeah.
were doing the
Yeah.
number
Yeah, I
crunching,
think so too.
and then make that recommendation.
all.
Just look at page 9, which has personnel total expenses through October, which is not the full year. It's 110,000, 111,000 basically. And we're talking, no, that doesn't happen, never mind.
We'll get the
That's
number.
Okay.
Yeah, you guys should
Yeah.
work it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, because it's gonna be a whole bunch of other.
Yeah.
Because it's, yeah, like where it gits a little crazy is all the
Benefits.
benefits,
Yeah.
like you don't realize how quickly that.
No, I know.
Yeah, but that, we were, it's holiday. That's a good time. to
But
get
it's
out.
also, as I said, there are a lot of, inflation is much higher now than it was a year ago.
Your point is well taken, absolutely.
Of course,
Yeah.
it's coming down.
Listen, we have to
Okay.
also deal with the fact that this is something that we're always dealing with, personnel is attracting.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're
Well,
gonna
you
look
have to
and
know
see
what's
not only what
competitive.
we're paying, but they're gonna look hopefully historically, what did this board do? What did this library do on a historical basis? Did they take care of their employees? And we always say resoundingly yes.
Yeah,
Well, we aim to be competitive, so,
yeah.
I'm just for giggles seeing if I can put that in
okay, slate of officers presented by nominating committee.
there.
Unfortunately, we are not able to present that slate at this meeting, and we tabled it until the December meeting because we weren't able to complete all the officers by today's meeting. So I still need to talk to some people, also some committee assignments. And, but we will have that completed probably by next week and be ready for a printed copy to circulate to everybody by the December meeting. All right, period for public expression. The time is 6:58, and we're, would someone move to go into executive session?
I make a motion to go into executive session.
I'll second.
Okay,
To adjourn the meeting at
Second.
7:31.
all in favor?
Aye.